There's a difference between peace and liberation, is there not? You can have injustice and have peace. Isn't that correct?
You can have peace and be enslaved.
Yes.
So peace isn't the answer.
No.
Liberation is the answer.
What's popping? You guys saying there's no sound on this? What's popping? What's popping, my friends, family? I'm gonna play this clip. I'm gonna fix the sound. Unfortunately, that's a glitch. Let me fix the sound. I definitely want to start with that. We have a banger show today. Unfortunately, we started with a glitch. It's all good. Let me see if this works. Let me know how the sounds.
There's a difference between peace and liberation, is there not?
I can hear it.
You can have
Okay.
justice and have peace.
Good. All right, cool.
Isn't that correct?
You can have peace and be enslaved.
Yes.
So peace isn't the answer.
No.
Robbie, I'm never listening to you again, bro. Never again.
And Robbie be fucking around in damn coffee.
Peace. Liberation is our word.
But you will want peace in the end.
Yes, but you can't have peace until everybody is equal.
But you seem free at the moment.
I seem peaceful at the moment.
You seem free.
I seem peaceful. Am I free?
I think not.
What's popping, my friends, my family? We get started with. I had to get started with that banger from Kwame Ture. Welcome to RBN Live. I am joined by my hotspot brother, my good friend Niko House. Also joined with amazing geopolitical analyst and international journalist, and also friend of RBN, Fiorella Isabel. Thank you guys for joining us today. We have a lot to talk about. I want to get started with this because we're going to have a free-flowing conversation. There's going to be a lot to cover today. I want to start with Fiorella, then we go to my brother Niko House regarding the situation between Israel and Iran. You have Donald Trump demanding that Israel attack nuclear sites in Iran. Kamala saying that Iran is our biggest geopolitical foe. So just to get started, Fiorella, what's your thoughts about the ongoing conflict in Israel's desperation into getting us into a regional war?
Well, first of all, I just want to say, let's be honest about what it is, because, for the longest time, we've called what's happening in Gaza a conflict as well. And is it really a conflict in terms of what we look at as conflicts, right? A conflict involves two parties that are fighting for something that you can put a diplomatic disagreement on, that you can say they have two equal means that they're fighting for. For example, even Russia, Ukraine, you could say people could argue in favor of another, even though we know that there are fascist factions within Ukraine and that Ukraine is a proxy to the US. But when we talk about what's happening in Gaza, it's a full-on Holocaust of these people that has been ongoing for a very long time. And that is it's not inequity. There's no equality in that. There's no force behind Gazans except the resistance, and the resistance is a faction. It's a joint faction of peoples. It's not a state like the United States where we're talking about all of this money, billions of dollars. This whole year we've had almost $18 billion poured in to Israel while the United States knows what they're doing. And so what we see in Lebanon now, what we've been seeing in Beirut and throughout smaller villages in Lebanon, is a continuation of what was done in Gaza. Exactly that, the same way, the same lies, saying that there are weapons in residential areas, saying that they have to kill every single Lebanese person because they are working with Hamas and they are also working with Iran, and therefore they all deserve to die. That's not war. That's a violation of international law. Israel's an occupier. It's an illegal occupier, and therefore it's not a war in terms of the same way we look at wars. It's more of it's definitely a genocide, but beyond that, if we want to look at it as a war, it is a war between, and it's an existential war, and it's a war that's existential for the people of West Asia, because this is part of the greater Israel project. This is part of what Israel has said they wanted to do for a long time. And it's an existential war for the people of the region, because if they don't fight back, they will cease to have any sovereignty over their lands. They will cease to be, essentially. And so this fight that was in Gaza, we can see, is now expanding into the northern parts of Gaza and into the illegally occupied West Bank, and into Lebanon and into Syria. And the goal is to take out Iran, because Iran is the nuclear power that can fully take down Israel. And therefore, that's what we're seeing. And that is going against the United States and Israel, because without the United States, we have seen that Israel wouldn't have the capacity. And even with the United States, Israel is lacking in this capacity in terms of its Iron Dome and its failures. And the results that they've had in terms of gains have only been what we've seen: dead babies, dead civilians, and destruction. But really, militarily, they haven't gained much. They have gained the assassination of Hassan Nasrallah. They have gained all of this. But what they need to understand, and what everyone needs to understand, is that the thought process of people who believe in martyrdom, who believe in Shia Islam, is something that you welcome, to die for a cause as great as this. And they have created 1,000 more Hassan Nasrallahs.
Very great breakdown, and I'm privileged to have my brother Niko join us with Fiorella, and I'm very interested in getting your point of view. This is such an interesting panel. Niko, anything else you want to add? What your thoughts? What Fiorella said was on point. The method of war that the West is engaging in is attacking and killing mass civilians in order to put pressure on their enemies, because they cannot win warfare. And when I see Iran, I see a country with 88 million people that will 100% fight for their existence versus 8 million Israelis. So obviously they want to get Americans in. But Niko, what are your thoughts?
So let me just say, first of all, I 100% agree with Fiorella. Calling it a war between Gaza and Israel, like, it intends that both sides stand somewhat of an equal chance of winning or have somewhat equal resources, and that's just not the case, militarily or diplomatically, for that matter, right? Because Israel has this ability to go into any room, drop some money down, or maybe just play a tape or two, some recordings, and politicians just melt in their hands. Now, I feel like there is this level of desperation that has kicked in because of everything Fiorella and you just laid out. The only victory Israel has been able to achieve is killing civilians. Now, when you compare that to just what Iran has done in the last 2 weeks, which is they didn't have to kill a single Israeli civilian, and they took out half of Israel's jets by penetrating the Iron Dome, though it's supposed to be unpenetrable, with ballistic missiles that apparently Israel didn't know Iran had, nor did they know the capabilities that these missiles had to penetrate. That was a red flag, I believe, for Israel, which is why they recently have begun trying to revive the career of Pahlavi, the former prince of Iran, who was the son of Mohammed Pahlavi, who was the Shah of Iran before the Iranian Revolution. I think that they know they can't beat Iran in a straight up war, because we know anybody that Israel or the United States even believes they can beat, they go and they just do it. They try to do it, at least, whether it be getting the United States to send their troops, or Israel trying to bomb that particular country like Syria or Lebanon into oblivion. In the case of Iran, that's not what we see. We've seen sanctions. We've seen them talk about regime change over and over again, but never actually doing it. We've seen them have to assassinate Soleimani while he was in Iraq because they can't get to him in Iran. We've seen them try to, like I said, revive the career of this prince as if he's going to go to Iran after not setting foot in Iran since the 70s and coalesce these people of the Democratic Republic of Iran to get behind a monarchy again. In other words, what that tells me is that you are fully aware that you cannot handle the ass whooping that is coming from Iran in your direction. That's what that lets me know. It lets me know that you have to plant bombs and beepers because your soldiers are not ready to go fight this war that you are starting. And if Iran actually starts to, if they try to fight Iran with everything they have, which I don't believe they will unless the United States gets involved, which is partially why they're trying so hard to get the United States involved. But if they do try that, we know Russia's going to get involved too. So if Iran feels like Russia should get involved more, I feel like that's also part of it. I feel like they will call on Putin to get involved more. But Iran not only has its own capabilities, but it can unite the region. It already has its own proxy that it trains so well that it doesn't even have to get its soldiers involved in order to have successful military victories and operations in the region. They train other people to do it. That's how efficient and effective they've been. So imagine a world where they actually have to go and get rid of Israel for real, right? Because Israel's pushed them to that point. I don't see a world where Israel exists if that's the case, because they have the unity in the region. They can get the help from Russia. And that help is both military and economically. And I don't believe that the U.S. necessarily would get involved unless something insane happens, because to be frank, that is against the interest of the United States. But we'll see.
Yeah, and I agree with your assessments. I think Israel made so many bad moves, which is good news for the peace movement, because I think the mass killing of civilians, provoking war with Iran, these are moves of a desperate, dying entity. And I'm going to cover, so I don't want to spoil it soon, but there's analysis on how settlers are fleeing Israel, how the economy is in shambles. And that's all due to the attack that happened around this time exactly last year, October 7th, which was a glorious act of resistance as far as I'm concerned. But back on Iran, because hold that thought, because we're going to get right back to that. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. Because if you're in the United States military, I've been very open about this, you need to get out. And it's our patriotic duty as Americans to prevent our loved ones, our neighbors, from fighting and dying in Israeli wars. And they are preparing for war with Iran, because you had this statement from Trump. I already explained this earlier, how Trump was telling Israel to strike Iran's nuclear facilities. You have Trump also just pretty much fantasizing about dropping bombs all over Iran, that crazy neocon speech he gave. Don the neocon Don, that's what people should call him. But both parties were cooked. We're post-duopoly. We're clear here. I have a video, my hotspot today, Niko. I know you I think you're covering Israel, Iran. I have a diss track on Trump. I don't do it that often. You guys know I don't diss Trump that often. But when I do, I go hard because the unhinged neocon garbage that's coming out of his mouth. But I want to show you guys this, because this is Kamala Harris essentially repeating the narrative of Trump. Like, she might as well wear orange makeup. You know what I mean?
Does she already wear orange makeup?
She might put a MAGA hat on because she jacked Trump's entire style. She stole Trump's entire fucking platform. Now not only did she steal the border policy, she stole his whole fucking Iranian policy. She stole his old swag. So Fiorella, I'm gonna get you in here. But this is Kamala Harris doing her best impression of, I would say Trump, but let's be honest, this is Mike Pompeo. And Trump embraced Mike Pompeo.
It's Nikki Haley. It's Nikki Haley, bro. It's so bad. Like, I'm like, yo, these motherfuckers all got the same position as Nikki Haley on Iran. That's wild.
There's a reason why Nikki Haley was comfortable endorsing Trump, the same way the Chinese were comfortable endorsing Kamala. But I know Fiorella want to chime in, so I'll play this clip and then we get you in.
What country do you consider to be our greatest adversary?
I think there's an obvious one in mind, which is Iran. Iran has American blood on their hands. Okay, this attack on Israel, 200 ballistic missiles. What we need to do to ensure that Iran never achieves the ability to be a nuclear power, that is one of my highest priorities.
So if you have proof that Iran is building a nuclear weapon, would you take military action?
I'm not going to talk about hypotheticals at this moment.
I have a lot to say here, but I want to get Fiorella in here first.
Oh man, where do you begin with this? I mean, they're competing to see who is going to God, I don't want to be vulgar, but they're competing to see who is going to do the most for Israel. Think about what I'm trying to say here, right?
Yeah, I know. I got you. I hear you.
And
He's trying to say, he wants to say who's going to stroke down Israel with that sloppy toppy. Who is about to slobber down
who's going to
that
help
Johnson,
Tua?
that
Not Tua,
uncircumcised
Israel.
Israeli Johnson? Or excuse me, circumcised
Basically-
Israeli Johnson.
Is it okay? Anyway, we're not going to get into that, but literally, that's the competition that we have right now. And you mentioned Trump earlier, and I've been meaning to go after Trump, but the problem is, you go after Trump, and it's like, but what do you expect? Kamala's so awful. I'm like, yeah, but you see, this is why way back when RFK Jr. was so pro-Zionist, and he was saying all these things about Palestinians, and he was just going off about how he loves Shmuley and how he loves Israel, and doing the same thing that Trump and Kamala are doing. People said, well, that's just one issue. It's just one issue. But if you look at right now, for example, right, Florida's expecting a category right now 4, between 4 and 5 hurricane. They just had another one, and not just Florida, but North Carolina and all the United States. And finally, people are like, wait a minute, where's our money? Why do we get $750? You gave Israel almost $9 billion. You gave Ukraine $8 billion. And meanwhile, where's our money? And so I'm like, well, this is exactly how this foreign policy aspect relates to domestic policy, because you may not care about, what's going on in the Middle East, even if it's a genocide. You have a lot of people that are just not paying attention and are so propagandized, right? The most propagandized country in the world. But still, you are finally seeing people's gears start to turn and say, well, why is this happening? What's going on here? And when you see, for example, Lindsey Graham do an amazing pivot from talking about hurricane damage from Helene and suddenly just flat out going straight, but what about Israel? It would just make me so mad if I was someone that lost everything, and then you have this idiot that's supposed to be your representative telling you to care about what Israel is going through, when they literally brought this upon themselves, by the way. And that's the nicest way of putting it, that they brought it upon themselves. And so when you see Trump and Kamala doing this, it just echoes that we're not going to get out of this electorally. That's just what it echoes to me. Two sides, same monster.
What's that, Niko?
I don't know what Israel going through. Like, their military took a hit, but Iran has actually been careful to not attack civilians, which is obviously more than what we can say for Israel.
Which is the worst part.
Yeah, once
they
again,
lie. He lied.
I admire the restraint from Iran, to be completely honest with you. And I think that they also realize that if there are more Israeli civilians that are taken, then Israel will use that as an excuse to escalate in places like the West Bank, and they'll harm Palestinians, because that's what they've been known to do. I think it's important that everybody realizes this man asked her, who is the biggest adversary to the United States? She says Iran. And I'm waiting for her to explain how Iran is the greatest adversary to the United States. And then she says, we have to look at the way that they are attacking Israel. I'm like, hold up. So Iran's the biggest adversary to the United States because of Israel?
Says everything.
Bro, that says everything.
That's our APAC handler husband.
Fucking money's worth the last few weeks. They've been getting all that money worth, because you got Kamala talking about Iran's the greatest enemy. Trump's an idiot who believes that there's a plot by Iran to assassinate him because the Biden administration told him that. The Biden administration, are you kidding me, bro? He's like, yeah, man, I know y'all literally been doing everything in your power to take me down, and probably was included in the last assassination attempts on my life. But I'm definitely going to believe you if you telling me that Iran's trying to assassinate me. If Iran wanted to assassinate Trump, it probably already would have been done. It ain't like Iran is in the like Iran's not known for going places and not completing the mission. If I'm being completely honest with you, so that's the first thing. Second of all, why would they want to assassinate Trump only to what have Kamala in power, who's probably more likely to follow through with any plans to go to war with Iran for no other reason than what Nick said. She the one with the damn APEC handler, right?
Yep.
You got one guy got his son-in-law, but shit, Kamala is sleeping with APEC and getting $5 million for her services.
It's just
So,
it's
like-
unfortunate for the establishment, Niko, because the first shooter missed. Because people need to realize that the reason why Nikki Haley stayed in the race was because this was the plan. So if Trump is murdered, who becomes the Republican nominee? So the
Nikki
fact
Haley,
that the shooter missed and that happened, and then the Republican convention came after that, they're fucked now, bro. They like had nothing. So that it was very important for the. I'm sorry to cut you off, Niko, but it was very important for that first shooter to hit, because what the plan was to give the nomination to the person who had the second most delegates, and that was Nikki Haley. So then people were saying, why is Nikki Haley staying in the race when it was clear she wasn't going to lose? That's why. That's my conspiracy theory. You're allowed to put theories together, and no one can convince me otherwise.
Nah, it's because it was right. It's the day before the convention. That's what was even weirder about it. It was like the day before the Republican convention, and they was about to be celebrating Nikki Haley.
Yeah,
that's
because the whole RNC celebration was about the Trump assassination. The whole point was to do the assassination before the convention. And then Nikki Haley would be, they were like, oh no, I'm sorry Trump died, but it just so happened that our favorite neocon girl boss has the second most delegates. Now, I'm gonna reply to this video as well because there's so many wrong said.
Hey, just really quick, can I just say how funny it would have been to watch both Kamala and Nikki Haley run as far away from their Indian heritage as possible, like during their like while one's pretending to be black, the other one's pretending to be white, and it's like, all right, guys, this is gonna be interesting.
Because don't get me wrong, guys. I explained many times before how I don't think Trump is the threat to the establishment many people pretend he is. But anyone with a rational mind knows they prefer Nikki Haley over fucking Trump. That's just she is
Trump's
the
too inconsistent.
darling. Go ahead, Niko.
I was just saying he's too inconsistent. He could feel one way about Iran today and feel completely different tomorrow. Like it just, depends if he had his coffee or not. Like that's how it is with Trump. They need somebody who's going to be consistently as hawkish as Haley, or at least as controllable as Kamala.
Yeah. Can you imagine the discourse? Because the NATO establishment is freaking out because J.D. Vance's and Trump's statements on Ukraine. But can you imagine the overall discourse? And it's not good now, trust me. But can you imagine if it was Nikki Haley versus Kamala Harris? How much they will be competing on who hates Putin the most? They'll be competing on who will fund NATO the most. Bro, that race
debate would be the most boring debate, bro. It would be the most fucking boring debate in history because they might not even touch foreign policy because it would be like, so what do you think about Iran? We got to bomb Iran. I hate Iran. Yeah, me too. Next question. What do you think about Israel? I love Israel more. No, I love Israel more. Well, you both love it. We love Israel equally. Okay, next question. Like, I don't know what, like even now, right? Like, I think that the border needs to be more closed. I concur.
That was the vice presidential debate.
Yeah, that's what it was.
It was the vice presidential debate, right? It's just like
at the vice presidential debate, they talk about foreign policy in the beginning, and that shit lasts for 10 minutes. And they're like, oh, I guess we all agree here. Let's move on to culture war.
Yeah. Opened up with a question by Israel. I was like, this is some shit, boy. I couldn't believe that. I'm like, y'all opened up the vice presidential debate for the United States of America with a question about Israel.
And then they realized that, like, man, we got no disagreements. There's zero spice between this debate here, so we got to move the fuck on.
How do you have a 10-minute conversation about shit that y'all both agree with? That's what was crazy. I think that was the longest conversation during the vice presidential debate, right? That was like the longest conversation. And it wasn't even a debate. It was just like, just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. That's wild, bro. It's disgusting. I don't know how American people. Well, actually, no, we know the majority of American people don't like what they're seeing from either candidate. Y'all do have other options, but which obviously Joe Stein's one of them. But what I'm saying is, like, y'all options to really change the country start after November. In other words, like, it's not the election. Y'all got to start organizing. Y'all got to start getting out there in droves. Y'all have to stop participating and legitimizing in that system. It's just, I don't know what else to tell y'all. Like, until y'all break yourselves from this spell that is the duopoly and this facade that America likes to call democracy, it's just going to keep. You're just going to keep repeating yourself. I just feel like it's at the point where it's like a revolution is necessary. It's. I don't know what else to say. It's just a revolution. Well, what do you mean revolution? Whatever that may look like, whatever's the most effective way to do it. That's all I got to say about it. I don't know how you're gonna do it. I don't know, but the voting ain't gonna save you. That's not what's gonna save you at this point. We're beyond that.
I agree. Fiorella, anything you want to add before I move on?
People need to be ready for that, though, Niko. People need to be ready for a revolution. If you go back in time and you see throughout history how revolutions came out, people had to be ready. There had to be the right conditions. And I feel like as things decline, right? Because I've had this conversation with Professor Richard Wolff, and he talked about, the US being an empire in decline, and it's just in denial of this decline. And I see that. I see like everybody's in denial. Like, whenever you go back to the United States, Niko, and Nick, since you're there, I'm sure you see how everybody's just trying to like get by. Everybody's just trying to like continue as if everything is fine, and then just dealing with it. It's like they're on autopilot. But something happens where it'll get you out of that, and then people are like, oh, okay, I have to reassess now. And I think we've seen little bits of that throughout the last 5 years almost 5 years since 2020, because we've seen the election and what came out of that and the questioning of the election. We saw COVID, we saw January 6th, we saw the complete and total censorship upheaval that's just gone massive now. I mean, going after anybody that says anything positive about Russia, going after anybody that's against genocide of Palestinians or criticizes Israel. And all of this is coming to like a breaking point, I think, but it's not going to change people's perspective until they can't, for example, get food or get gasoline. And we were so close to that with this last strike, but then that only lasted a few days.
That hurricane if that were to happen, came through. That hurricane.
I saw your video. I was like,
it's super convenient, right?
I was like, Niko's going conspiracy here.
I'm just saying, look, it was super convenient. The trajectory was perfectly predicted, which literally can't like that doesn't happen for hurricanes, guys. I'm just saying, like, and just the mass, like the size and the impact of it, and for it to arrive at the part of North Carolina specifically that never experiences hurricanes. I'm from North Carolina, guys. It shit does not happen in Western North Carolina. I was expecting to get a call from my mom because she lives in Raleigh, and her tell me how they tore that shit up, and she was like, "No, it passed us." I was like, "What? Where'd it go then?" She was like, "In like Asheville." That's a mountainous area. The Western North Carolina is full of mountains. It's highly elevated, and it's like it ravaged through this area specifically that's been going through this battle for lithium with companies that are owned by both BlackRock and Vanguard, and then like. That damn negotiation lasted for the strike rather. It was a 2-day strike, bro. And they were like, yeah, go ahead and light that bitch up. We gotta. And it was like, and then Biden appealed to their patriotism to get them to basically give. I think they wanted like a 77% increase in their pay over the next 6 years to make up for the fact that they barely got any increase in pay at all, right? And it was before the hurricane, it was going to fuck the economy up. It was going to destroy the economy if they stayed on strike for more than a week or two. So the hurricane comes. It was all but certainty that it was going to destroy the economy if they were allowed to continue to strike. So they made them feel guilty and was like, yeah, we can do 60% over the next 6 years. And they had to accept it because I'm sure that these people have families too, right? So it's like they don't want their families to suffer, and it's not their fault that the hurricane came. So like, it's just all of it, but it's one of those situations where, and once again, the people have to take less conveniently. And it's weird to me because we're acting like that would really be a problem for the families in the states that were affected, because we know that FEMA has already misappropriated funds. They don't have the money to pay for what would be shipped by the goddamn company. They're not buying anything from them. So it doesn't even matter. But they made them feel guilty anyway. And that, in my opinion, was at least part of the plan.
Yeah. Yeah, and to the point on revolution, then we get back on track. Fiorella is 100% right regarding our need as an intelligent working class to prepare for that. That's why we all need to do our part. That's the whole idea, the whole concept behind RBN chapters is not that RBN chapters will lead to a revolution. The idea is, what if everyone else did RBN chapters? You know what I mean? What if everyone did something? What if everyone did their part? And I implore everyone, and I'm still in my journey as well, trying to figure out how the best way I can contribute towards a revolution. The problem that the American populace has is that, and this has been a problem for decades, the American ability to accept bad as the new normal. Like, when shit get bad, they're like, oh, well, I guess shit is bad now. Like, no, things don't have to be this way. I'm talking. This is more anecdotal to me. And I want to explain. People in my life who have medical debt. Well, fuck, man. I guess our system sucks. I guess we got medical debt. People struggling to feed themselves. Well, I guess we can't. Food is hard to come by. No, we don't have to accept bad as the new normal, and that is a consistent trait of Americans, which held us back to believe of capitalist realism, that the capitalist structure will always be. The belief that the system as society as we know it will always be.
But not to cut you off, but especially black people, bro, we really because I mean that's kind of our whole existence is like shit's bad. What you gonna do about it? It's kind of like how it's always been for us. So like I always laugh because people, my grandma used to say, I don't know why. She said it was white people tripping about the Great Depression. Black people didn't know there was a depression. You gotta have money to know that there's a depression going on. Like that's what she said. She was like, I don't know. She's like, you gotta have money for it to be a depression. We ain't never had none, so you know.
Yeah.
But we don't. But you're right, though. It doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't. It shouldn't. But the circumstances for a revolution are lining up. I don't believe the first one will be in the United States, but I do believe the largest will. And I think that when it starts, it's going to be, because Americans, well, we would do some shit. We got to do it over the top. We can't even win championships right. So without acting a fool. So, when they decide finally, you know what, guys, fuck this. We got to take this bitch over. It's going to be glorious.
Yeah. I'm going to get back just for a second time, because I still want to cover the Trump story, which I think we're going to have a lot of fun with. And I want to play the video again because it was a second. It's not a long clip. It's only 30 seconds. I want to show you guys Kamala's answer on Iran again, and I want to chime in and show you guys exactly what is wrong with it. And it also demonstrates the insane neocon mindset of our ruling class. And let's do it one more time. Let me unmute it here. Oh, Jesus. Here we go.
Which foreign country do you consider to be our greatest adversary?
I think there's an obvious one in mind, which is Iran. Iran has American blood on their hands. Okay?
So this is where I wanted to start with the first time. You have Israel that is murdering Americans. They murdered American aid workers, murdered American journalists. Shireen Abdul-Akleh is a Palestinian American journalist that the Biden administration covered up. The Ukrainian regime murdered Gonzalo Lira, an American. But Iran has American blood on their hands. But I'll let it continue. Feel free to interrupt if you guys need to.
This attack on Israel, 200 ballistic missiles. What we need to do to ensure that Iran never achieves the ability to be a nuclear power, that is one of my highest priorities.
So I just find it funny that America actually thinks that like they can prevent Iran from being a nuclear power. Anything that Iran does or does not do is under its own volition. And I don't understand why. Like the reason that they have not, for example, blown Israel off the face of the planet is because they've chosen not to. It's not because they can't. It's not because they couldn't. Like the same reason they've trained soldiers in Iraq to get rid of terrorists and were successful in doing so. They could have sent their own military. They chose this other method because it would prevent, obviously, Iranian laws from being put in jail, but it also trained Iraqi citizens to protect themselves, which was probably intentional. So that way, Iran never has to overextend itself or its military. So what I'm saying is, if they want a fucking nuclear weapon, there is nothing you're going to be able to do to prevent Iran from having one. And I'm not quite sure that they don't have one already. And it's like I feel like that's probably they probably know that. I feel like the West probably knows that, which is probably the reason they're a little bit
what I
tepid.
understood, and from what I heard and what I understood, another thing that prevented Iran from getting a nuclear weapon was also a lot of like just fundamental disagreements in Iran on whether they should have a nuclear weapon. There like a lot of people have religious disagreements, like they don't believe they should be able to play God, and they believe that's something that people shouldn't have, and that's something that was strong sentiment in Iran. One of the reasons why they agreed to the Iranian nuclear deal, even though it was a bad deal for them, it was great for America. They did it because they're actually an ideological strong preference towards not having nuclear weapon, but the aggression towards the Zionist entity in the West is so intense that many people are like, fuck, I can't believe these bastards about to make us do this. But that, from what I understand. Another thing, Fiorella, anything you want to chime in before I continue the clip? The last few seconds here?
No, go ahead. Yeah.
I want to play this last part again because I know this is the first time I played this. Kamala gave that ridiculous answer. And you want to know what the follow-up from this reporter is? I know this when we watched it the first time. Imagine all the stuff we just said here. Anything we could have followed up Kamala with. Listen to what this motherfucker follows up her war salad with.
If you have proof that Iran is building a nuclear weapon, would you take military action?
He said, if it was proven, if Iran had a nuclear weapon, would you take military action? You guys see how the corporate media is always cheering for war? Talk dirty to me. Will you bomb Iran? Talk dirty to me. Oh my God, if they do this, will you? They always do that. Like if Putin crosses your red line, will you attack Russia? Like they always push the politicians.
Yeah. Cause it's also kind of weird, right? Because it's like, why is it that Iran have a nuclear weapon? It's like we should go to war with them. There are other countries like Israel has nuclear weapons. We know they have nuclear weapons. They violated a treaty. They had a treaty. They violated a treaty to get them, right? Yeah. And then nobody's like, will you attack Israel if they have nuclear weapons? No. Like, I mean, nobody else who's violated it and has nuclear weapons getting attacked. But it's Iran. So, you know, those mean brown people can't have nuclear weapons.
So the first question during the vice presidential debate wasn't how your policy is going to benefit Americans. You want to know what the first question was? Would you authorize a first strike on Iran by Israel? That's the first question of a giant presidential debate. So despite how much we hate the politicians, I'm telling you guys, you should hate the media more because the media, every step of the way, is cheering on war. And the Biden administration has been confused so many times that I've seen like these press conferences with like Blinken and one of these swamp monsters, and where the media is like, why aren't you doing more for Ukraine? And they're like, the fuck? What do you mean you're not doing more? That's the Western media in a nutshell. Let me play the question again, and Fiorella, I'm gonna get you in here. But listen to the reporter. I found this more newsworthy than what Kamala said. He's cheering on war.
That is one of my highest priorities.
So if you have proof that Iran is building a nuclear weapon, would you take military action?
Will you take military action?
About hypotheticals at this moment.
Which foreign country?
This is something I know about because I've been watching way too much corporate media recently. It is the media that is pushing the politicians to war. And then whenever the politicians say stuff like, oh man, I don't know, man, I think we already send a lot of money to Ukraine. Don't you think that will help Putin? Well, what happens if Putin decides to invade Europe? It's always the media leading that. Do you see the same thing?
But they be saying wild shit. They do be saying it. They be like, if we don't stop Putin, if we don't give money to Ukraine, England's next. It's like, what? In what world is Russia ever tried to invade England? What the fuck are y'all talking about?
Russia wants nothing to do with England. Trust me.
That shitty ass weather. Nobody wants to fucking take over England. England don't even want to be in England. That's why they're so busy trying to take over everybody else's country. They got to move to all the other parts of Great Britain because nobody wants to live in England. We got to take over South Africa. We can't give them Scotland and Ireland back. Why? Because England fucking sucks, bro. Come on.
You know, Nick, well, I think you're onto something about the media. I mean, I think it's par for the course. I think that it's kind of a symbiotic relationship where, you know, if they say this, their ratings go up, and then the politician responds in a very warmongering fashion, and then then you get that soundbite, and it's like, oh yeah, Kamala's willing to use, weapons on Iran. She's willing to take military action against Iran because they're a threat. So then they can go and permeate the entire media sphere with this narrative, and then eventually it'll be like Iran has weapons of mass destruction, and
then they have interviews about that interview, right? They have interviews about.
And we've been talking about false flags, right? Like we're due for a false flag soon. Like we're due for something like that. We're due for something, and it's coming from both Kamala and the Kamala Harris campaign and the Trump campaign regarding Iran interfering in elections, Iran hacking software, Iran doing this and that. And if it's not Iran, it's Russia, depending on the day, right? On how they wake up. It's either Russia or Iran. And like the whole China thing too, that's never forgotten by the neocons. The neocons are always saying Chinese are influencing our children and that they're trying to get us to be, very Chinese and communist, which is funny because if you think about how people are over there versus in the US, they're a lot more tame in terms of how they behave. So it's just very interesting to me to see this whole play. But what I want to ask people, and this might be the journalist in me, like what do you make of that? Like is Israel, is this the United States of Israel, or does the United States just prop up Israel because they so need that project to function so they can have control of West Asia? Because if they have control of West Asia, then going after Russia, then going after anybody else in the region would be just so much easier for them. I'm starting to wonder, which is it, the chicken or the egg, right? It's very strange.
That's a really good question, because I literally was pondering the other day while I was high as hell. And I was thinking, like, I'm being dead ass serious, because I was watching something like, the Roman Empire is falling, but they were talking about the United States. But then I started thinking to myself, I'm like, we keep assuming that it's the U.S. that's the Roman Empire, because we've kind of almost been conditioned and propagandized to believe that they're acting on their own, and they're the ones influencing all the policy, right? Like that's why we would consider them the Roman Empire, even if they don't have, like, those countries don't call themselves part of the United States. But then it's like, well, hold on. But it seems like it's Israel who's influencing the U.S. And if we went to war with Iraq because of Israel, and we went to war with, potentially we overthrew Gaddafi because of Israel, and we went to war with Afghanistan over Israel, and we got beef with Iran over Israel, and Israel is trying to reinstall the Shah in Iran, and Israel's the one who has the most lobbying power in Washington, and Israel can literally commit genocide. Israel can literally celebrate rapists. Epstein was working for Israel. Ghislaine Maxwell was working for Israel. These fucking politicians work for Israel. Celebrities work for Israel. And I'm like, are we sure that Rome isn't Israel?
That's why it's an interesting question. Like, what that Fiorella posed? Like, what's come first? Is it America following the direction of Israel? I like what Iran says. What the position of Iran. And I think they provide a lot of clarity, because I have this question a lot as well. Iran says Israel is little Satan. The United States is big Satan.
I don't know if that's true. I firmly, because like we assume because Israel is a little country that they're not big Satan. But who has more dual citizens, like per capita? It's Israel.
The mindset of Iran is that Israel is the Satan and they are the evil, but it represents the overall bigger Satan, the United States.
Okay, yeah. Well, I would assume, like, I would consider the United States like the hellhound of Satan, basically. Like, we think it's like Americans have been convinced that that we're the ones in charge, right? And that's kind of like what's kept Americans complicit in the majority of what they've seen or not seen with the United States. But in reality, we go and we get convinced. When you really think about the lack of logic, like we were in Libya in the 90s and nobody really asked why. You're like, oh, Gaddafi's crazy, man. Oh, okay, I guess that's fine. Like, we were in Iraq, right? We sent Iraq to go beat Iran. That shit failed miserably. Then we went to go back to Iraq to fight the dude and to fight Saddam the first time, and then like nobody really asked like what the fuck that was about. And it's like when you really think about how illogical our wars have been, you really got to ask yourself like, well, why? And then when you, of course, you found out the founders of Israel, effectively, which are the Rothschilds, like they were like some of the biggest financiers of World War II. And then you're like, hold up, are we
Things get really interesting? Things get really interesting.
Like, are we? And what's important to remember is how long World War II and the Holocaust itself was happening while the United States was like just chilling. We let the shit happen. Like it was okay, yo, man. So I know there's a bunch of Jews being killed right now, and Hitler, this guy literally, because people keep thinking that Hitler influenced everybody and he won office. He won an office and then overthrew his government in the middle of the night. And everybody seemed to forget that. And the US is like, yeah, man, so y'all want to hold the Olympics in Berlin? That's cool, for sure. Yeah, but Jews can't compete. Yeah, that's fine, man. Whatever, it's cool, whatever you need, man. It's like all the circumstances that led to World War II happening would have only been allowed to happen if the US allowed it. Because the Treaty of Versailles, because if FDR prevents GM, Ford, GE, and all those companies from building Nazi military machines, their fucking guns, their tanks, everything, then they wouldn't have an army to fight with. And you're like, okay, I'm starting to think of the Roman Empire, if it is failing, it isn't because it's the United States that's failing, it's because of Israel. And if you look at how Israel is fucking flailing right now, and the United States is suffering because of it, and the world's economy is even suffering because of Israel's actions, this fucking country with 8 million people.
Yeah, I mean, now, Niko, I think this is the perfect transition to our last story on that thought, because we talk about this relationship between Israel and the United States, and I can see. I can see legitimately the argument both ways, whether Israel runs the United States or America run. I can see it going both ways. This is an argument for Israel running the United States, because every single United States president has to make a pilgrimage to the wall. They have to do what I call a humiliation ritual. The sound is actually not that important, so I'm gonna have this play in the background. And
all we need to see.
The people on the right is fucking furious. At least the people who claim that principles, they're like, oh my God, I can't believe Trump is sold out. What do you mean you can't believe Trump is sold out? The only thing Trump is planning on doing is having Americans fight for Israeli wars. The same way that Kamala Harris, and we talked about this last time, Niko, the same way that Kamala Harris married her AIPAC handler husband to show her loyalty. You know what Donald Trump did? He gave away his daughter to the Zionist regime. She married Jared Kushner.
Oh shit!
Sorry, guys, we're not
you put it like that.
We're not the PC left. I'm not very politically correct, but I know how shit works, bro. Like Donald Trump.
His daughter to the Zionist. That shit's fucked
you gotta
up.
show your loyalty somehow, motherfucker. You gotta show your loyalty somehow. So Jared Kushner gets Ivanka. Okay, you see Jared.
Lucky bastard.
Ivanka, especially.
I don't lie. Hey, y'all can hate me how y'all want to. Ivanka fine as hell. He don't deserve it.
Bro. Jared Kushner, get the fuck out of here, bro. Get the fuck out of here. And now you have Donald Trump that promised, and this I'm spoiling my hotspot. I don't want to spoil it too much, but Donald Trump essentially promised Jared Kushner Gaza. And people wonder that Trump is not only loyal for Israel because of politics, he's blood with Zionists. His fucking stepson is a Zionist. You think he's gonna switch his position on this? But Niko and Fiorella, I'm having fun now. Fiorella, we start with you. What's your general reaction to this? I could show you guys a lot of coat tweets. We don't got a lot of time. It's not that important, bro. The amount of people from the right, look, the coat is hilarious. But anyway, I want to get your thoughts on this, Fiorella.
I mean, I just don't. I think it's like a joke at this point. I mean, every single one of them, right? Every single one of them has to pledge loyalty. Remember when the Argentinian president also he converted to Judaism, and he did the whole thing. And then this is why people become what are called crazy conspiracy theorists. Is it crazy to think that Israel is like in control when you see this time and time again, when you see presidents bowing down to, like, you're not Jewish? Imagine if he did that with like the Quran, and he wore like a hijab or something, and he covered his face. And like,
Trump survived every scandal on the right. That would end him. Like that would be the one.
Hey, I need to hear that again.
That would be the one who ended him. But go ahead.
Y'all need to hear that again. If he was holding the Quran, pledging, bro, they think Muslims are trying to take over the world right now.
Look,
they think
but look at every
reason. Like
but if Muslims are trying to take over the world,
I guess. But whatever the fuck.
But if Muslims are trying to take over the world, then why is it every single world president that's of a certain political ideology has like a fucking yarmulke on and like is vowing allegiance to Israel? What so if it's Muslims doing that, where's the Quran? I want to see Sharia law. I want to see all the stuff that Tulsi Gabbard just like vomited out on her X account. Like
where the
just
prayer
complete and total.
Where the prayer carpet's at, guys? I need to see something. You know what I'm saying? Like if it's a Muslim taking over the world, because this is I can't believe that, bro. We don't see nobody touching Donald Trump's hair. Donald Trump's hair ain't been touched since I've seen this man. Since I was born, and he let them put a yarmulke on him, guys. That's some.
Yeah, but
that's like Epstein-esque.
I told you guys, there's no one more pathetic than a Christian Zionist. Putting themselves through these humiliation rituals.
Cuckoldry.
Apparently, I need to find a receipt. I might find a receipt. I didn't have it saved. But the rabbi of the organization that Trump was at, he once gave a sermon explaining how non-Jewish people's souls belong to Satan. So essentially, the rabbi that Trump was sucking up to was essentially saying all Christians souls don't have real souls, or souls are spawns of Satan. I gotta find the receipt. You gotta know I don't make shit up. I gotta find that receipt because that shit is crazy. A lot of people on the right was like, how are you fucking sucking up to this person who said Christians are a spawn of Satan? And that's what they believe. Like,
yeah, he was the one that was justifying spit. Was that the same one that was justifying spitting on Christians in Israel? Like Christian Israelis?
Yeah, bro, it's straight up humiliation that they support these people that hate them, but that's the point.
Look at Jared Kushner Zuckerberg. That motherfucker look just like Mark Zuckerberg with less personality, which is staying alive.
And I'm gonna cover this in my hotspot. Niko, you know our boy Gray be in the fucking lab cooking, boy. So you know he's cooking right now because I have a hotspot where I'm gonna cover this where Trump essentially around like yes, fucking promised Gaza to Jared Kushner and his friend. So the same way that Kamala Harris has an AIPAC handler husband, Donald Trump has an AIPAC handler stepson. That there's no way he's gonna step out on Israel because not only because he likes Jared Kushner, like he likes the ideology of Zionism. He fucks with colonialism. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like he fucks with it at the end of the day. Niko, Fiorella, anything else?
Hey, I do have a theory, Nick. I feel like the reason he was put through that humiliation ritual in the way that he wasn't put through it last time is because he had the audacity to say that he felt bad for the Palestinian people and how they haven't been allowed to achieve their potential, right? Yeah. Like he said it in front of Netanyahu, and Netanyahu looked noticeably and visibly uncomfortable. And I feel like they're like, oh, that's what we're doing now. Get your ass over here and throw this motherfucking yarmulke on, bitch. That's what we doing. So you gonna feel bad for the Palestinian people? Put this yarmulke on. Come get your Elon Musk on, little boy.
Oh shit. Look at this flashback. I just now remember this. We're gonna wrap up here soon, guys. Appreciate it. We're gonna wrap up soon. But I saw our family at Hotspot posted this. This is another reason I believe, Niko, to your point. Look, you're not going to support me because I don't want your money. Trump went from saying, I don't want to take your money to taking $100 million from Sheldon Adelson and doing the bidding of the Zionist. This is what he said. This is illegal.
So again, you're not going to support me, even though you know I'm the best thing that could ever happen to Israel, and I'll be that. And I know why you're not going to support me, and you know you're not going to support me because I don't want your money. He raised $125 million, which means he's controlled totally controlled by the people that gave him the money. That's why you don't want to give me money.
Oh, look at Trump saying anti-Semitic tropes. So this is once again, Trump is obviously a Zionist here, but they had to do something to control him. He's like, I don't fucking take your money. These motherfuckers are owned by Zionists. They like, nah.
We're about to go in, dog. I wish I could see the face of the crowd, right? As you say.
Yeah, me too.
They're like, I mean, yeah, but you came here to tell us that shit?
Bro, Trump used to talk to these motherfuckers like hoes, bro. He used to talk to them any way he wanted to. Now he's just kneeling to him.
Hold on, what? When was this video? When was the speech?
This is 2015. This is I saw this earlier. Hotspot posted it.
Oh, this is the first election?
Yeah. I remember this to your point, Niko,
times
they didn't put
change.
him through the humiliation ritual the first time. Now they're like, oh shit.
Times change, boy. I do gotta admit, it's been almost damn 10 years and he don't really look that much older. I gotta give him that. I damn sure thought that shit was like a couple weeks ago.
Then the Alderson swooped in and that quickly changed. It was a great receipt by Greg. Big shout out to him for finding this. But let me play this again. And then the last thing I'm gonna show you guys is how Trump is advocating against free speech.
So again, you're not going to support me, even though you know I'm the best thing that could ever happen to Israel, and I'll be that. And I know why you're not going to support me, and you know you're not going to support me because I don't want your money. He raised $125 million, which means he's totally controlled by the people that gave him the money. That's why you don't want to give me money, okay? But that's okay. You want to control your own politician. That's fine.
Bro, this is like the most anti-Semitic shit.
That's fine.
They're like, I don't want your fucking Jew money. You think I want your fucking Jew money?
I'm telling you, I'm gonna help you out, but I'm just saying you only want to give me money because you want to control me. I ain't gonna let you fucking control me with your money. I'm gonna help you out because I like you know what I like Israel, but like you just want to fuck control people. Like, damn, bro, you showed up to tell them that shit. Like, you didn't even have to add that to. You could be like, I'm gonna just be, you know, I'm gonna do really well for Israel, and he could have left it at that. And he's like, nah, I just want to let y'all know I don't want your fucking money because even if you try to just come doing good for Israel, I just need y'all to know it's my choice. Y'all not controlling me. I know what y'all motherfuckers be doing. Like, bro, that shit got super anti-Semitic low key, real quick. Like low key, that might have been some slick anti-Semitic shit, right?
Dude, that was hilarious. Fiorella,
he didn't even need to say it. Like he's just like, I know y'all be controlling motherfuckers. I'm a billionaire too, bitch. I know how y'all get down.
Conspiracy theories, man. Like what happened, right? Did they rein Trump in? It seems for me, the first time around, you could say that Trump was like, okay, trying to be an outsider. But this time around, there's nothing to support that. This is why I don't understand why people try to prop him up and say he's gonna save us. He's gonna rescue the republic. Like to me, it's like insane to think this guy is going to do something, and also relies on the fact that he is just going to make these decisions regarding Ukraine and Russia. He did sit down with Zelensky and had a conversation. Zelensky is also Jewish, by the way. So this is all kind of just going all around, and we're doing all these things. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And he was funded by a Zionist as well. So
why are these Jewish people so like in love with neo-Nazis? It's just kind of like a weird pattern, right? Like these Jewish leaders and Jewish media personalities celebrating neo-Nazis. It's almost as if they're undercover.
Don't get Kanye on me.
I can't say what my doctor was because I'll get in trouble by the media. He was Jewish.
I definitely agree with what Fiorella was saying because I've mentioned this quite a few times how like this is not the same Trump, and it's crazy how people don't realize this. In 2016, Trump ran against Hillary Clinton corruption. He kept calling out the Hillary Clinton Foundation, and he was calling Hillary Clinton corrupt. And he went from running as a fake populist to running as an unapologetic Reagan Republican. Like, have you guys actually listened to his speech?
Actually, worse than Reagan. He's actually run to the right of Reagan. If I'm being completely honest.
Yeah, I guess I'm being too nice. He's running like a standard Mitch McConnell. He run like a standard Mitch McConnell Republican, guys. And I've been noticing. I guess people who like Trump, I guess they don't listen to him because I listen to him. I see a clear difference. He used to call out Hillary Clinton for corruption, and then in 2020, he ran pretending Joe Biden was a secret fucking socialist, that he was controlled by the fucking Democrats. So it was a completely different way of running. He went from calling out corruption, and now he's saying Kamala is a fucking communist. Like,
that's very true.
It's a completely different style. But I'm gonna play this clip because this shows how Trump is just essentially a Ted Cruz Republican. I think that's probably accurate to say. He's a Ted Cruz Republican, advocating for the censorship of Americans who oppose the state of Israel. And I let it play, and I'll get you guys in here. This is the last thing I want to show you guys today. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me unmute it. Here we go.
We will remove the jihadist sympathizers and Jew haters. We're going to remove the Jew haters who do nothing to help our country. They only want to destroy our country. And we will never let the horrors of October 7th be repeated here on American soil. We will not let that happen, and we will solve the problem that we use.
So he called people Jew haters.
So like he wants to remove Jill, like the Jewish. So Jill Stein's Jewish, right? So like what? Because she supports Palestine, he's going to remove Jill Stein, the doctor. So the doctor, Jewish woman, does not do anything for the nation and hates Jews.
Niko, imagine, and I've been bathing in this irony. We have someone who was calling us Jew haters because we want to put America first. Because we said we shouldn't be sending money to Israel. We should be spending back on America, putting America first. And we were called Jew haters by the America First movement for wanting to do that. But Fiorella, I know you want to try to go, Fiorella.
I just want to say what struck out to me the most was when he said we're not going to have a October 7th happen here in the United States. So I won't allow that. Like he's kind of obviously pointing to the fact that there could be some sort of attack from these crazy wild Muslims, right? That they're going to come and attack Jewish people, which is something we should watch out for because, as I said, we're due for a false flag. But the other thing was that this October 7th thing happened in Israel, right? Like this happened in Israel. So why would it happen here? Why would it happen in the United States? Why would you talk about something that happened in Israel as if it really relates to something that happened to us in the United States? You're running for president of the United States, right? Or is he running for president of Israel? So here we go back again with the same scenario. Like the way he's talking, the way all of them are talking, it's like they're running to be president of Israel, not president of the United States. So when these America First people come out and they're like, well, at least Trump is what? He's definitely not putting America first. He's putting Israel first, just like everybody else.
There's a very good chance Trump has absolutely no idea what actually happened on October 7th, guys. We cannot put that past him. Like, this is Trump we're talking about. That motherfucker just hears the word October 7th and he's like, y'all know what that means to y'all. So I'm just gonna say the shit and y'all take it how you want to. Like, cause he don't ever go into detail. We're not gonna have another October 7th. Like if you ask him, oh, like what happened on October 7th? Oh, bad things happen, terrible things happen. Just horrific, terrible things, and we just can't allow that to happen again. Oh, like what? Like what happened? Oh, just terrible things. Palestinians attacked Israel, and yeah, that's what happened. That's exactly what happened. But I just find it interesting that all of a sudden, discrimination has become such a big deal to these Christian evangelical Zionists. Like, wow, I didn't know y'all cared so much. So, like, hey, as a black person, like, since we're concerned about discrimination, like, y'all gonna start talking about getting all the racists out too? Is that like a thing? Is that on the table? Or is it just the Jews? Like, can we get some love?
It's only God.
Right? Because y'all already gave them. Because that's why I'm like, damn, where the fuck are these conservatives who like literally reparations is the red line for them? Like reparations for black people in America is like the red line for them. And they're like, yeah, but reparations to Israel, that's different. But you just said, well, I didn't have anything to do with slavery. Motherfucker, was you a Nazi during the Holocaust? Okay. So, well, nah, but like, I'm not going to use my tax dollars. Yeah, you are, because you're already doing it. Well, yeah, it's different. Why? Why is it different? We're going to remove all the Jew haters. Okay, let's just say that's what you want to do because you don't like discrimination.
This is so terrible.
Okay? So you're going to remove all the fucking racists? You're going to remove all the Islamophobes? No, we can't do that. Well, why Jews? Why do they get to be the exception? Nobody ever wants to answer that. Like, bro, usually conservatives will be in my fucking comments arguing with me. Well, everybody's arguing with me sometimes. But conservatives will argue with me about everything. But when I asked about that, like what happened to all those anti-fucking reparation conservatives? Where y'all at? Because if that's a red line, if Trump came out and said he supported reparations, y'all motherfuckers would go crazy in his comment section. Crazy. But
bro, and that's to my point. I was showing some tweets and I'll get into a very dark side of Twitter as you guys. Like I was showing you guys the reactions of the right wing, and bro, when you look at and this is something that you would never hear in corporate media, and I've been studying these polls for a while. When you look at the ceasefire polls, when you look at the polls of Americans who don't want to invest in Israel, even among Republicans, do you know there's consistently around 1/4 of Republicans that's like, I don't want to support Israel. I don't agree with you supporting Israel. Now, I will be surprised. People will be surprised at how much that actually is and how much that actually will impact someone. And what does it say? That I see Nick Fuentes, I see all these right-wing crazy motherfuckers say stuff like, man, I'm not voting for Trump after this. And there is a significant amount of Republicans that won't vote for Trump because of this. Now, let's break down how much control Israel has of the United States. Because we have a race where if any of the candidates told Israel to fuck off, they will win. But they choose, and they are having a race to the bottom, and they made the bargain that we are both willing to lose if it means we both support Israel.
That's 100% true. Like, literally, all you gotta do is say, "Hey, man, fuck Israel," and U.S. troops are not, U.S. or Americans in general are not about to die for anybody else's war. Bro, you would win. They would win by landslide. They win. But nobody's like, they're like, shit. But who's gonna say it? Who's gonna jump first? Not me. Not me either. Okay, so y'all both just like you said, they're gonna race to the bottom. And if they're gonna, but the thing is, the problem for Trump is that if they race to the bottom, Kamala's gonna win. Like she's gonna win the election. He can't, like, it's like the thing that separated him was he's supposed to be the outsider, even if only marginally so. He's supposed to be different. He's supposed to think for himself. But like when both the presidential and vice presidential debates sound like y'all motherfuckers is agreeing on basically everything except for what happened during the last administration, because that's basically what's going on. It's like they disagree about the causes of the problems that are happening economically. But as far as everything else, and they even agree on some of the solutions, right? It's like variations of the solutions, but they're basically the same solutions. Like they're not about to give no more health care. That's all right. They've agreed on that shit. They're going to each give their own versions of tax breaks. They agree on that. But they agree on almost everything foreign policy wise. So it's like that, but that's the shit that's fucking up our economy. So like, anybody gonna say anything different? Nah, man, nah, bro, can't do that. You see this yarmulke? They already got me, bro. They got me. I can't say anything. I can't do it.
They made a gentleman's
humiliation ritual.
You gotta know, boxing is essentially a gentleman's agreement that I am willing to lose a fight with you if it means I can't take you down and I can't throw kicks. Like, we're gonna fight only throwing punches. I can't throw kicks. I can't take you down, and I'm willing to lose, but I want to follow those rules. That's the rules of the duopoly with Israel. They're willing to lose an election. All they have to do is throw the kick, saying they don't support Israel. They can win, but they refuse and they don't do it. But anyway, Fiorella.
Hey, brother, you can't be Floyd Money Mayweather if you're throwing kicks, dog. That's what it comes, right? Can't be the richest boxer ever. That's why they call it a limited hangout. They call it controlled opposition, right? It's control. Even Mayweather picked his fights, guys. I'm just saying. But that's what it is at the end of the day. You can lose your whole livelihood fucking around against Israel, especially with that big of a microphone. But I also got to say really quick about that media point. That the point that you made about the media controlling the politicians is 100% true, because if the media all came out and told the truth on a regular basis, for example, about what Israel is doing, we actually saw what that result was. Biden became more unpopular than he had been during the majority of his administration, to the point where that gave them the green light to then take him out. Because it ain't like his fucking mental capacity had all of a sudden diminished in 2 weeks. We had already seen this. We watched it since the last election. But it was because of that, combined with the unpopularity that he had garnered from the positions that they've taken on Israel. And then they got him out, and then they flipped, which we all called it. We all knew that the moment Kamala got in, it was going to be like, yeah, ignore that shit. And everything we said about Biden regarding Gaza and how much y'all should hate him for it, ignore it now. Because Kamala's here, and she's going to save the day. Nothing's changed. She's going to continue the same policies. And it's like, but then you saw people, including the celebrities that were calling out Biden versus the ones that are now voting for Kamala and promoting her. Like, you saw people switch, and it was because the media told them to.
Yeah.
But somebody told the media, so
yeah, that's true.
Anyway, I'll leave it at that. But
yeah, we can wrap up. Anything else you want to add, Fiorella? Before we move?
No, I mean, this is crazy times. I don't think the election is going to change anything, but I do think we're going to see some sort of protests or riots, no matter who wins, whether it's Kamala or whether it's Trump. I do think people are going to get upset. It might be small, but I do think that based on what I'm seeing, people are going to get angry. because people
Liberals
are being
lazy.
fed on the Trump side that, you know, Trump is filling up stadiums and Kamala is really unpopular, which is true, but he's not as popular as he was before, as we have talked about, right? He's not doing what he did before in 2016. So I think it's up in the air. I really don't know who they're going to choose, is the way I look at it.
Who they're going to allow to win, right? Who they're going to allow to win. That's basically what we're at right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys know
maybe that has something to do with the yarmulke, guys. That might have something to do with it. Like Trump is like, well, I'm not popular anymore, so I gotta hope they allow me to win.
Yeah, it's a clown show. It's just political theater. It's hard to predict. That's why I don't take it too seriously. Who can predict this madness? I've gone back and forth. At the end of the day, the Zionist entity will win. Either way, it was great to have Niko House and our friend Fiorella join us today. Niko, where can they find you? What you got coming up?
You can find me on YouTube, obviously, guys, on Twitter at Real Niko House, on Instagram at Real Niko House. And obviously, y'all go follow Hotspot. You know, we always be dropping bangers on bangers on bangers on bangers. And obviously, you can subscribe to my Telegram channel as well. And yeah, I got, you know, we drop Hotspot videos every day except for the weekends. So go check us out.
Fiorella, where can find you?
Yeah, well, I'm not on YouTube anymore because I got taken down. But you can follow me on Rumble at Fiorella Isabel. You can follow me on Telegram at Fiorella in Moscow, at X, Twitter, Fiorella Isabel M. And I'm also working on doing stuff for Beyond Headlines, which is starting to make more videos and such. So follow me there.
Yeah, make sure you guys follow Fiorella and Niko for their amazing work. This is part one of the double header we have for RBN. Mark Kimberly will be joining us tonight. Me and JB and Mark Kimberly. So we got another banger show. I'm looking at the schedule. Look, Zoya been in the lab cooking. So we got Scott Ritter coming on tomorrow, apparently, as well.
Oh, shit.
Time. So we have Ozzy Cusack here yesterday. Fiorella is here. We're here to help the people who have been sanctioned by the censors spread their voice. So that's what we're doing here at RBN. Hope you guys enjoy the show. Make sure you guys check out our friend.
Oh, hey, man, we got to give a shout out to Rachel Blevins real quick, man. Y'all go follow Rachel Blevins on Twitter. She got taken off of YouTube after an interview went viral. I think it was an interview about Russia and Ukraine. They got
it. About Gaza.
Oh, it's about Gaza?
Yeah, I got taken down after a Scott Ritter interview. She got taken down after an interview with Morandi.
Yeah, that's what it was, yeah.
Before that, she had...
Scott Ritter. I really hope it doesn't go viral. Like I want the Scott Ritter interview to do typical RBN numbers. I don't win. I'm interested in talking to a geopolitical analysis. I don't care about the views. If anything, if that shit blows up, we're gonna be in trouble. So
right, I know. I was just thinking about that shit. I'm like, damn, bro. So this is why I don't be liking fucking my videos going viral, because I be panicking like, damn, bro, that's just dope. But hell, Fiorella, they was going after Fiorella before she had 3 followers. She had 3 subscribers. They're like, yeah, delete that shit. Yeah. They saw her face. They got an AI running a scan every damn day just to find Fiorella's face on YouTube. That's just crazy.
The stream
it's gonna come down on everybody, I think. So I wouldn't count on YouTube, to be honest.
We are on borrowed time, my friend. I hope you guys realize we are on borrowed time. It's surprising we last as long as we have done. I mean, when Iran attacked and retaliated against Israel the first time, I did a breaking news live, and I broke the algorithm and got like 28,000 views in like 1 hour. Then YouTube yanked the stream. They're like, nigga, we ain't let you go viral. Get the fuck out of here. Bro, I was on page. People were like, bro, that video was on page to hit 1 million views. And they pulled that shit like 2 hours, bro. Because I was like the first person that went live during this shit. But anyway, let's wrap up. Make sure you guys follow Fiorella and Niko. We got to do this again. It's always fun having you guys on, so we got to do this again here soon. Make sure you guys check out my friends. Have a good one. We'll be back later tonight. Take care.